is Liddy Kaiser with clearancejobs.com. Like all mothers, I love all three branches of the government equally. Like all mothers, I often wish that all three branches of the government knew what their job was. Last week, Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz introduced legislation called the Spook Who Cried Wolf resolution, dubbed the Spook Who Cried Wolf resolution, to revoke the security clearances of the 51 individuals who signed a letter referring to the Hunter Biden laptop story as Russian disinformation. You have to buy me a scotch before I tell you anything about what I think about that letter or the Hunter Biden laptop situation. But what I can talk about for the sake of this video cast is security clearances and whether or not Congress can actually do that and revoke the security clearances of these 51 individuals. Not the first time we've seen legislation kind of similar to this. We have the Security Clearance Improvement Act, which was proposed in January by another Republican congresswoman, different congressperson. Republican congresswoman proposed this legislation which would require security clearance applicants to reveal if they participated in any QAnon, Stop the Steal rallies, kind of trying to vet out people who were involved in the January 6th Capitol Hill riots. Again, Security Clearance Improvement Act. So designed to say, hey, if you participated in the January 6th riots, you want to make sure you can't obtain a security clearance. It's not uncommon for Congress to kind of issue resolutions or proposals like this. Can Congress weigh in on who should or should not have a security clearance, though? That actually is up to the executive branch of government. We've covered this extensively during the Trump administration, where people were talking about, should Trump have a security clearance? Spoiler, he sets clearance policy. If Trump could give security clearances to his family members, yes, he can. Security policies are born out of the executive branch. What Congress has a very important role in is accountability and kind of priorities. We've seen the different branches of government work together really well on Trusted Workforce 2.0 initiatives. So again, Congress is kind of laying out policy priorities, hey, like reciprocity improvements, one clearance concept, and then requiring accountability, so metrics back to the executive branch on those, calling those folks to the carpet and making them accountable in congressional testimony to see how things are going. That is kind of how it works. Can Congress just unilaterally revoke the security clearances of 51 people? I don't think it's going to really move forward and pass. I think it's a press release that's, press release legislation versus actual policy legislation. Could there be something on moving the needle in terms of, hey, do we want more clarification on what former intelligence officials can and can't do after they leave office? There's always a lot of back and forth about that. Again, in this case, do those 51 people even currently have access to classified information? Not sure that all of them do. Can Congress kind of issue and revoke those security clearances? I don't see it happening. Again, you could have the executive branch could just set something and compete with them. So come on, children, let's all work together and hold hands. For now, we can watch and see what happens, but it's worth noting that security policy is set by the executive branch. Generally, when we see this kind of thing happen, even in terms of the Security Clearance Improvement Act, they're basically just signaling that these are our priorities. These are things that we care about. It's less likely to move the needle and cause the executive branch to decide to unilaterally revoke the clearances. Again, if they find out something that was done that was related to a violation of the adjudicative guidelines, and if those people have a security clearance actively, there's more process that we can take there. That was the case for the Security Clearance Improvement Act. If you were trying to storm the Capitol building on January 6th, there were criminal conduct and other ways that the government could revoke your clearance, allegiance to the United States, adjudicative guideline issues. So if they can demonstrate that someone has been dishonest, unreliable, untrustworthy, there is a vetting process that deals with that. But for now, Congress just likes to keep us on our toes and keep things interesting. But for more on that, congressional security clearances, who sets clearance policy, where security clearance rules and regulations come from, man, you can read all those exciting executive orders over at clearancejobs.com. So come on, head over, join the conversation, and join us over at Clearance Jobs.